Hey you, it's true! With another surprise by Sigza, who are yet again blessing us with a new SSR. This time it is Storm and it is Unicorn. She comes with a high speed of 501 and an electric skill set. Let's kick it off with her passives first to set the scene. We have Chevalier's Grace. She has permanent 50% damage reduction from attacks and also comes with a hold ground. Whenever she gets the turn and has under 50% HP, she will life flip. And if she is on the battlefield at the start of the battle, or if she is entering from reinforcements, she grants all other allies the armor status effect and all enemies 3 discharge counters. Also, new enemies entering the battlefield while Unicorn is on the battlefield will be granted 3 discharge counters as well. More on the utility of the discharge counters when we look at her actives. But yeah, decent passive, but nothing too crazy, I think. Then we get the Electrostatic field. And here we get the first awakening scaling that we had in a while. There is a chance that enemies entering the battlefield get immediately stunned for 50 time units. And if she is fully awakened, then that chance is actually 100%. So that would be a guaranteed 50 time unit stun then. Also, whenever another ally enters the battlefield, they are immediately granted the armor status effect. Also, Unicorn is granted a sleep ward at the very start of the battle if she is on the battlefield. And also whenever any unit, so either enemies, allies, or even Unicorn herself, enters the battlefield from reinforcements. This does not specify that it has to be non-conjured units, so she looks like a unit that can get sleep wards quite easily. Of course, if she is already asleep, I don't think it will purify her. But let's get into the action. Let's look at her active skills. The first one being Discharge Strike. 1 spirit generated, 100 time unit cost. Only dealing 100% damage to one enemy. But if that enemy has any discharge counters, they will be stunned. And they will be stunned a lot based on how many discharge counters they have on them. If you remember back to the passive side, all enemies will be granted 3 discharge counters, and if she hits a unit with 3 discharge counters, then that unit is stunned for 300 time units. If they have 2, then it's 200, and if they have 1, then it's 100 time units stun. After such an attack, 1 discharge counter is removed. So for example, if a unit is stunned for 300 time units due to having 3 discharge counters, and getting hit by the discharge strike, afterwards they will have 300 time units more, except if they have a stun ward or are stun immune, and then still have 2 discharge counters left, which leaves them vulnerable to yet another discharge strike later. What is also nice that with this discharge strike, Unicorn is granted a sleep ward. So that means even more ways for her to gain that. Her second skill costs 2 spirit, but is an instant skill. It is an instant pushback, pushes one enemy away from the battlefield to be next in line of the reinforcements. So this is not a banish, can of course only be used if there are any enemy reinforcements. Well, not of course, because we did have some skills that provide the enemy team with imposters, but this is not one of these skills. This skill becomes locked for 100 time units after use, so basically every 100 TU she could use this pushback, for example, to reset some savage enemies or to move some guards out of the way. Another prominent guard pushbacker is of course Musashi. Not sure if they will jive well with each other. I have to say I'm not 100% sure how much I like this skill in the current meta. It seems a bit expensive as well with 2 spirit cost. But then we have another skill which I like much better, and that one is called Magical Experience, granting 2 spirit and costing 50 time units, immediately giving one other random ally the next turn and purifying them. So for example, if they are asleep, they are waking up for that turn. This skill becomes locked after use until the user deals damage with an attack, and unfortunately that's only the first or the fourth skill, both of which cost 100 time units. So at most I think we will see the magical experience probably around every 150 time units. One thing to point out here as well is that this gives the turn to a random ally, so if you're unlucky, this might be an ally that is next in the turn order anyways. If you're lucky, then this might be a highly stunned unit on your team. Then this could be indeed a magical experience. And then as a final skill, we see something quite interesting. The first survivor, or rather OG survivor skill that is locked for 300 time units after the user has entered the battlefield. And it is a survivor's raid. It is a rainbow raid, costing 2 spirit, 100 time units, dealing 600% damage to 2 enemies, and ignoring any effects of non-boss enemies that would prevent the targets from being defeated. So this is an execute skill, but it is locked behind quite a high TU for nowadays meta. 300 time units is nothing to scoff at, though I guess SSR is thinking that the stunning ability should enable her to survive that long. How often we can observe this rainbow raid is probably dependent on how much stunning she can really do, so that depends on the enemy team, and also a little bit on her hate level, which only seems to rise a lot after she unlocks this skill. But even before that, she already gets a slight rise if she kills a unit, which doesn't make all that much sense to me because there's literally nothing in her skill set where she benefits from getting kills. So that's the whole skill set of this new and surprising upcoming unit, Unicorn. Definitely a good addition for any stun or poison team. But other than that, I'm not fully convinced yet. Yes, she can get a lot of sleep wards, but sleep wards cannot stack. And so if she gets slapped twice in a row before she gets the chance to reinstate her sleep ward, so to speak, then she will fall asleep anyways. I would also say she's very vulnerable to stuns, which yes is a little bit ironic. I'm also very much concerned about her ability to heal. Yes, she has the permanent 50% armor, and yes, she life flips whenever she gets the turn, but if she is stunned, then that doesn't matter much. And generally a life flip was good a few years ago, but after so much has happened in Evertale's meta, the 100% heals and stuff like that are really much preferable to this life flipping, considering that this only really has a big impact if she is already on hold ground. And yeah, she only comes with a normal hold ground, another issue, but yeah, with so many execute skills flying around, even that hold ground might be ignored, and she will not be at 100% HP often. So yeah, even though she has the 50% damage reduction from attacks, that gets also ignored a lot nowadays. For now, to me, it seems like Storm King Arthur is the much better unit, but maybe I am underestimating the potential of her electrostatic field, where she stuns units that are entering, and in combination with her instant pushback, of course, like we know from Earth Astrid a few years ago, where she had the poison entry. This one has basically the stunned entry, and so maybe she can abuse that a little bit, especially considering that she might be teamed up with other stun units. The granting armor effect can be nice, especially as a purify from sleep, but this also makes running her in a stealth team very, very difficult, because she might end up removing stealth from your other teammates or removing the stealth shield, which might be just as problematic. On the positive side, this is the first unit in a while that actually comes with an execute skill, but it is locked behind 300 time units, so that is quite a long time, especially if you are facing a stun immune team like a burn team. Then this unit is completely gone. There's nothing helping her. She even has only a hold ground, which will die to any burn. And she's also vulnerable to stun, so burn stun is really a perfect counter to this unicorn, because they are also stun immune. Let's see how she will perform on the battlefield. As always, I will try to upload some top level arena footage of her as soon as possible. And of course, if you are unsure whether to pull for her, then also check out my summon or skip review in the coming days. Thanks to Helios and Nizetto for the visualizations. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. I much appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.